The luxurious Kang Corporation building stood imposingly in the heart of Seoul, reflecting the gray morning sky. In the cold and formal hallways where employees hurried about, Yoon Hana was finishing organizing the books in the corporate library. To her, it was just another ordinary day, unaware that her life was about to change forever. The door swung open firmly, and the sound of footsteps echoed in the silent room. Kang Ji-hoon, the young and feared CEO, entered with an overwhelming presence. His cold gaze scanned the room until it landed on Hana, who, startled, quickly bowed in respect. "What are you doing here?" His voice was low but carried undeniable authority. "I'm organizing the files," Sir Hana replied, trying to hide her nervousness. Ji-hoon raised an eyebrow. It was rare to see anyone in the library, let alone an employee who didn't belong to the archives department. His gaze studied her for a moment, and something about her simplicity intrigued him. Without another word, he grabbed a book from the shelf and left, leaving Hana breathless. In the following days, unexpected encounters kept happening at the company's cafe, in the elevator, and even at the building's entrance. Ji-hoon started to notice that every time his eyes met hers, something within him felt a little less dark. Hana, on the other hand, struggled against her own heart, knowing the distance between them was insurmountable. One afternoon, while reviewing reports in his glass-walled office, Ji-hoon couldn't get the image of the delicate yet determined employee out of his mind. His thoughts were interrupted when he received a notification. Hana had made an error in the system while archiving documents. His first instinct was to call her immediately, but something made him hesitate. Instead of reprimanding her, he decided to go to the library. There she was, furrowing her brows as she tried to fix the problem. Before he could speak, Hana looked up, startled. "Mr. Kang? I'm already correcting the mistake." Her voice trembled slightly. "I know, but why are you fixing it yourself? You could have called IT." He crossed his arms, intrigued. "I caused the mistake, so I should fix it." She looked away for a moment, biting her lip. "I was always taught not to rely on others to correct my own errors." Ji-hoon stared at her for a few seconds. Most employees would have simply delegated the problem. But not Hana. There was something about her that fascinated him more and more. However, everything changed when Ji-hoon found her being unfairly scolded by a superior. Without hesitation, he stepped in. "The issue has been resolved. There's no need to raise your voice." Ji-hoon's cold voice sent a wave of shock through those around him. Hana looked at him, surprised and grateful. For the first time, their eyes truly met. The cold and distant CEO had just taken a step toward what he least expected love. At the end of the workday, Ji-hoon passed by the library once more and stopped at the door for a moment, watching Hana as she carefully arranged the last of the books. With a discreet sigh, he turned and left without her noticing. But something inside him told him that this was only the beginning. At Kang Corporation, the days continued at their usual intense pace, but something inside Ji-hoon had changed. He found himself distracted during important meetings, his mind drifting to the image of Hana. It was irrational. He, Kang Ji-hoon, one of the most respected CEOs in South Korea, couldn't afford such a distraction. And yet there he was, sitting in his expansive glass-walled office, drumming his fingers on the desk as he recalled Hana's determined gaze. Meanwhile, Hana carried on with her routine, trying to ignore the curious glances from colleagues who had noticed the CEO's unexpected intervention on her behalf. She knew that any rumors could be dangerous not just for her job, but for her peace of mind. However, her biggest concern was her own thoughts, which kept replaying every moment she had shared with him. One evening, when most employees had already left, Hana decided to stay a little longer to reorganize some documents. She was alone on the floor when she heard firm footsteps approaching. Turning slowly, she found Ji-hoon standing at the entrance. "Do you always stay this late?" he asked, leaning against the doorway with his arms crossed. Hana blinked, surprised. Not always. But I like to leave everything in order before I go." Ji-hoon nodded slowly, observing her. There was something about the way she dedicated herself to her work that impressed him. He had never met anyone quite like her. "Have you had dinner yet?" The question slipped out before he could stop himself. Huh? Na's eyes widened in surprise. Not yet. But I was planning to grab something quick at home. Ji-hoon hesitated for a moment before speaking again. I know a restaurant nearby. It's a quiet place. Hana felt her heart race. Was this an invitation? No, this couldn't be happening. And yet, something inside her wanted to say yes. The night unfolded in silence as Ji-hoon and Hana walked side by side through the streets of Seoul. The restaurant Ji-hoon had chosen was sophisticated yet discreet, far from prying eyes. Hana, still in disbelief over the situation, sat with a reserved posture, feeling the tension lingering between them. It was the first time they shared a moment outside the professional environment. You seem surprised to be here, Ji-hoon commented, observing her with his piercing gaze. Hana offered a timid smile. To be honest, I am. I never imagined that the company's CEO would invite me to dinner. Ji-hoon relaxed slightly, resting his elbows on the table. Neither did I, but I think you intrigue me. Yoon Hana. She felt her cheeks grow warm. She didn't know how to respond to that. Luckily, the waiter arrived to take their orders, giving her a moment to gather her thoughts. During dinner, the conversation flowed surprisingly naturally. Ji-hoon wasn't as cold as he seemed at work. There was a sincere man behind the Ruthless CEO's armor. However, the peaceful moment was interrupted when a phone rang. Ji-hoon picked up his cell phone, and his expression darkened as he saw the name on the screen. Excuse me, I need to take this. He quickly stepped outside the restaurant. Hana couldn't suppress her curiosity. Something about Ji-hoon's expression told her that this call was important, and she was right. Outside, Ji-hoon spoke in a tense tone. I told you to stay out of my business, mother. On the other end of the line, his mother's stern voice echoed coldly. Do you think you can get involved with any employee without consequences? Our family's reputation comes first, Ji-hoon. This has to stop now. Ji-hoon clenched his fists. He hated when his family interfered in his life, but he knew things wouldn't be easy. When he returned to the table, Hana immediately noticed the change in his demeanor. Is everything okay? She asked gently. Ji-hoon hesitated for a moment before forcing a smile. Yes, let's finish dinner. But deep inside, something told him that this story was only just beginning, and that the love he felt for Hana wouldn't be easily accepted. In the days following their dinner, Ji-hoon felt a growing tension surrounding him. His mother had been clear. His relationship with Hana would not be accepted. But he wasn't the type to bow easily to family demands. Hana, on the other hand, couldn't shake the strange feeling that something had changed. Ji-hoon was more distant, avoiding direct eye contact whenever they crossed paths in the halls of Kang Corporation. Her heart tightened at the thought that their brief moment of happiness was already coming to an end. One cloudy afternoon, while Hana was organizing documents in the archive, a group of employees whispered nearby. Have you heard the rumors? One of them said in a hushed tone. The Kang family wants Ji-hoon to marry the daughter of a powerful chaebol. Really? He doesn't seem like the type to agree to a marriage of convenience, another replied. Hana froze upon hearing that. An arranged marriage? Was that why Ji-hoon had been acting so differently? At the end of the workday, she was surprised to see Ji-hoon waiting near the building's exit. He looked serious, but there was a spark of suppressed emotion in his eyes. We need to talk, he said simply. Hana nodded, feeling her heart race. The two walked to a quiet park nearby, where Ji-hoon finally broke the silence. My family found out about you, and they're trying to force me into an arranged marriage. His voice was filled with frustration. Hana felt a painful squeeze in her chest. She had expected something like this, but hearing it from him made it all the more heartbreaking. And what are you going to do? Her voice was a hesitant whisper. Ji-hoon held her gaze with intensity. I won't give in. I don't want to live by my family's rules anymore, but that means things will get harder for both of us. Hana knew Ji-hoon's world was ruthless, but as she looked at him, she saw something she had never noticed before: vulnerability and love. Then we'll face it together, she answered with a gentle smile. Ji-hoon felt warmth spread through his chest at her words. For the first time, he realized this feeling wasn't something he could ignore, and that he would do everything in his power to protect her. But the challenges were only just beginning. Ji-hoon's decision to stand by Hana and defy his family did not take long to have consequences. The next morning, upon arriving at the company, he found his father sitting in his office, a cold and calculating expression on his face. "It's time for you to stop this childish behavior, Ji-hoon," his father began, his voice as hard as stone. "You know that a marriage with the Choi family is what the company needs." Ji-hoon crossed his arms, holding his father's gaze. "And what about what I need? Have you ever thought about that?" The patriarch scoffed impatiently. "Love is an illusion. In the real world, alliances matter more than feelings." But Ji-hoon would not back down. He was tired of living by his family's expectations. More than anything, he was willing to fight for Hana. Meanwhile, Hana was beginning to feel the weight of the exposure. Rumors spread throughout the company, eyes constantly following her. Even her supervisor had started treating her with hostility. The workplace, once her refuge, had become a battlefield. One late afternoon, Ji-hoon found her sitting alone in the company cafe, her gaze distant. "They're making things difficult for you," he said, taking a seat beside her. Hana sighed. "I knew this would happen, but I didn't expect it to be this fast." Ji-hoon gently took her hand. "I won't let them hurt you, but I need to know if you're willing to stay with me, despite all of this." She looked into his eyes and saw not the untouchable CEO, but a man who truly loved her. "If we're together, we can endure anything," she answered firmly. Ji-hoon felt the weight of his doubts disappear. No matter what lay ahead, he would not turn back. But little did he know, his family was far from giving up on tearing them apart. The walls were closing in on Ji-hoon and Hana with each passing day. Ji-hoon's mother had ordered his removal from company responsibilities until he agreed to the arranged marriage. Meanwhile, Hana received an unexpected termination letter of final warning that they should stay apart. But Ji-hoon was not a man who gave up easily. That night, under the glow of Seoul city lights, he drove to Hana's house. When she opened the door, she found a different Ji-hoon CEO facade. No formalities, just a man in love, determined. "Marry me," he said without hesitation. Hana was speechless, her eyes widening in shock. "What?" Ji-hoon held her hands firmly. "I don't want to live under my family's rules anymore. I want to build my own life, and I want you to be in it." Tears welled up in Hana's eyes. She wanted this too, but she feared the consequences. "And your family? And your company?" Ji-hoon smiled, calm and resolute. "I'll rebuild from scratch if I have to. But without you, none of it matters." In that moment, Hana knew that nothing could separate them. She smiled through her tears. "Yes, I'll marry you." Their wedding was simple, away from the spotlight. Ji-hoon's family refused to attend, but he didn't care. For the first time, he was free to choose his own path. Years later, Ji-hoon proved he didn't need his family's empire to succeed. He built his own company, alongside the woman he loved. Hana, in turn, pursued her passion for design and opened her own studio. Together, they built a family filled with love and companionship. In the end, their love overcame every obstacle. Because when two souls are destined to be together, nothing can stand in their way.